It's Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity with your grand reveal in San Carlos, San Diego. 3 days, 5 people, and the best time. You all saw the first day what a hot mess this garden was, and I was so excited because I love me a hot mess. These tiny little intimate spaces are my forte. This is where I do my best work. I love the details, from staging little pots on tables and top dressing with creva. See this little aloe, how the colors in the teeth and the plant pull in the colors in the pot and repeat the stripes. Then Hannah stuck this cute little tchotchke in here to kind of just, that's everything. Over here, we have Petalanthus macrocarpus, which is the cousin to Bracteus. It grows on thinner stems, and the flowers are not quite as big as Bracteus. They're more like, well, the common name for this is lady slipper. But look at this. Look at this. Look, let's just break this down. So we have the plant, which is, meh, it's interesting, but okay. So what we did is we added the ribbon of rock. Remember we talked about this rock. This is called Sonora Shiners, these beautiful colored pebbles. And I could have pulled these out, but I didn't. I worked the rock through them. I staged another little garden tchotchke. We planted an Echeveria gibiflora, and then we broke up the rock on either side to create a yin-yang effect. Then I added a pot with the same repeated pattern. I did a desert gold top dressing and the black shiny pebble like we've done on the ground. This is aloe striata. Then I found a really pretty colorful river rock for my third element in that pot. And what we have is absolute inspiration. And everywhere you go in this garden, there are little nooks and crannies of inspiration, from the beautiful chair underneath the Chinese fringe tree, to the pocket gardens, the vertical planters, all of the little surprise elements that we were able to pull in the garden that were so meaningful to the client, like the red sphere. And then, sometimes less is more, and you have to remember restraint, restraint, restraint. What are the 3 R's of design? Rocks, repetition, restraint. So I found these little seashells, and rather than throw them all over the creva, I just spotted them and I buried them a little bit. And I held back. I restrained myself from going over the top. Now, I know what you're thinking. This garden is so incredibly meticulous, and there are so many small rocks and so much detail. How in the world are you going to keep it all together? Well, we have Greg here with the Glaze and Seal Wet Look 2000 with a Murphy sprayer. And you can see that he's putting the shine on those little pebbles. Hudson sprayer, not a Murphy sprayer. I'm thinking Murphy bed. And I don't know. That makes no sense. But at any rate, so his Hudson sprayer. And what the Glaze and Seal does is it's a green product that sticks kind of like a glue. It makes everything keep that wet look. It prohibits weeds from coming through. And it just sets the rock so that it doesn't move around. Also, remember, this is a garden for one person. She doesn't have animals that are going to be running through here. She doesn't, have a bunch of traffic. So she can come out and in probably 10 to 20 minutes a day with a little brush, maintain this garden to absolute perfection. I'm really, really happy with how this Petalanthus bracteus wall turned out. Remember how everything was literally flopping over into the pathway on day one? I love the tapestry that Terry did underneath. And again, this is like a painting or a portrait. I also found some river rock out in the open space that I tucked in. You'll see some rocks, some big round rocks, just kind of randomly staged that I put in at the very, very end. Some of you are asking about the fire glass in the Waterfall. I got that originally when we did this install a number of years ago, 4 years maybe, at KRC Rock. It was kind of a one-off. They don't generally carry that really, really colorful glass. But to remember to get it nice and shiny, I gave it a vinegar bath to brighten it up and to take off the hard water. So, remember another trick is to marry your pot, include it in the landscape. See how we took the river rock and we just embraced it and hugged it in? Oh, and also we're going to need to throw a little bit of burgundy 3/4 up here next to this cotyledon. I see dirt. We missed a spot. And here's the beautiful park bench that Greg painted and put back together. This is another really, really fantastic viewpoint. I'll have Hannah sit here so you can see what I'm seeing. Terry, isn't that so fantastic? And remember, we sprinkled the fire glass into the bird bath. That is so beautiful. And I did a little more finish work with plants, and I took some of those river rock that I talked about that I found in the open space and just kind of sprinkled them coming down that little mound. Then over to the right, there's that fabulous green pot that the guys planted out and the beautiful talavera ball. And you see how the lines of the design all keep moving. There's no breaks. Everything is connected. And that's what you do with the rock, is you connect. So the space has continuity, despite the fact that we've got a lot of vignettes, we've got a lot of plants, we've got a lot of features, but it all ties together so beautifully. This raised bed tapestry was done predominantly with cuttings from other areas of the garden. I thought this looked a little flat, so I just set a little river rock down there to kind of break it up a little bit. This was a little box that the client's father made many, many years ago, and it has great sentimental value. Hannah planted that out beautifully. You're probably going to want to know what this is. This is Kalanchoe bracteosa, sometimes called Hildebrandii. It's I got it at Waterwise in the 1 gallon can, and it can get pretty big if you give it a chance. Look at here. I found these cute little rusty tools on the other side of the yard, so I just set them on the rock, and then the placemat to anchor this into the landscape, I added a little bit of desert gold just to set this off visually. The client had, the little laugh rock. We staged that. I tied in some of the groupings, 3 to be exact, with Creva. And then I just, very selectively put down some shells so as not to overdo it. This air conditioning unit, we haven't talked about this. Greg, when we did this installation, originally he made this little lattice screen, which I think is genius. Covers up the air conditioner very, very nicely. And here we have the aloe dahlia that was so mature and was over in the front of the yard and was just kind of eating the space, owning this corner absolutely beautifully. Then this concrete pot, I kind of left it alone. It had this Aeonium Zwartkopf in it. It's very, very leggy, but I thought this was very, very interesting, and I liked the way it looked, so I decided not to cut it up, just to leave it be. We just added a couple of little plants in the front. This pot is tipped and kind of buried in the landscape, and then again, the desert gold just waving through, and then I just have that very simple little aloe hybrid right there at the end of the little wave. So, I tell all my clients that they need to be prepared to enjoy their garden, but don't even dream about adding anything without my approval. I don't want this to get junked up. Everything is such meaning and such purpose. We also have lights in this garden, up lights, so that she can enjoy the space at night. Remember that lights create a completely different garden experience. So, yeah, hello. This is, I think you can tell, one of my favorites, for sure. Love this installation. Love you. Thank you all so much for following along. We will be in Coronado after the Thanksgiving holiday. So remember, stay home. You can do Thanksgiving next year. And enjoy your garden space. This has been Laura Eubanks with Team DFS and your grand reveal in San Carlos, California. Bye, guys.